What happened next is painful and humiliating for me to tell. Only by a miracle, my daughter survived that day. But in my lowest moment, God gave me the strength and guidance to find a breakthrough 15-second immune activation trick. A method so simple yet so classified was something I'd never heard of before. It was powerful enough that, without changing her diet, lifestyle, or using heavy prescription drugs, my daughter could free herself from the herpes virus. In just a few weeks, she went from hiding in shame, from feeling alone and misunderstood, to reclaiming her life, her confidence, and her sense of self. And most importantly, she knew she'd never have to endure the pain of an unexpected outbreak or the fear of passing this on for the rest of her life. And it's not just her. This 15-second immune activation trick has now helped over 75,567 people manage to free themselves from the shameful herpes symptoms naturally, with dignity, freedom, and a renewed sense of control. Never again having to worry about a painful, embarrassing flare-up. No more feelings of isolation, no more covering up, no more need to turn to endless prescriptions. Never again hiding from friends and family or feeling guilty or ashamed. And no more questioning, why me? This solution doesn't involve risky drugs or invasive procedures. It's a simple, safe, and natural technique you can do at home right now. It works with your body, activating a powerful immune response, and targets the root cause of flare-ups, leaving your friends and family in shock, marveling at the radiant glow of your skin, the brightness in your eyes, and the calm, confident way you carry yourself. Turning heads everywhere you go as people notice the vibrant energy you exude and the unmistakable beauty of a clear, flawless complexion. And having loved ones whispering to each other, trying to figure out what's changed, why you look so healthy, happy, and free. As unbelievable as it sounds, this transformation is all possible with an oddly simple and safe 15-second immune activation trick you can do at home right now. It has nothing to do with strange routines, expensive treatments, or anything unusual like that. You see, they want you to believe herpes is something you have to live with, something to carry with shame. But it's not my daughter's fault. And it's not yours. You've been lied to. In the next few minutes, you might feel angry, just like I was, when you hear from whistle-blowing doctors who spent decades inside the pharmaceutical industry. They're revealing for the first time the hidden, true root cause of herpes outbreaks, a latent pathogen that silently keeps the virus active and attacking the body. This recent discovery was validated by top institutions, which found this toxic amino acid wreaking havoc in those struggling with herpes. This solution is like nothing you've ever tried or seen before, and it's so simple it might even make you angry, because this 15-second immune activation trick targets and neutralizes this latent pathogen to instantly activate the body's defenses, stopping the virus in its tracks. And because of this breakthrough, my daughter went from hiding in shame, avoiding friends and family, to reclaiming her life and her confidence. Now, every day she walks around with her head held high, unafraid, unashamed, and free from the fear of outbreaks. I discovered this method for her, and it changed her life, and it's changing lives for thousands of others, just like her. She never thought it was possible to live without fear, but in just a few short weeks her outbreaks stopped, and her life began again. And the best part? She's kept this freedom for over 2 years now without any relapse. This approach is unbelievably simple, and it works. I know it sounds hard to believe, but my daughter broke free from the cycle of shame and symptoms using this natural method. Now every day she's confident, happy, and her skin is radiant. She never had the strength to endure traditional treatments, but thanks to this, she's fully living her life again, with no reservations and no fear. And so will you, so stay very close to the screen for the following minutes. Because this right here is hands down the best solution ever. If you think you've tried everything already, you haven't, because this truly works. Every day, people like my daughter are finding freedom, filled with newfound hope and confidence. After just weeks of using this 15-second immune activation trick, their lives have changed dramatically. No more hiding in shame, no more fear of sudden outbreaks, no more feeling isolated and helpless. Instead, they're experiencing the freedom and confidence they thought they'd never feel again. Family and friends can't believe the transformation. Their faces are clear and radiant, their energy restored, and they're living life fully and openly, no longer controlled by this hidden, latent pathogen. This breakthrough 15-second immune activation trick targets the true root of the virus, the latent pathogen itself. Once it's neutralized, flare-ups vanish, and freedom from symptoms becomes a lasting reality. No more wasting money on endless prescriptions that only manage symptoms, and no more putting health at risk with dangerous side effects. This solution is unlike anything you've seen before. Big pharma giants want to keep this hidden because they profit from ongoing treatments, not actual real solutions. They don't want you to know about this breakthrough because it targets the pathogen itself. So listen carefully and watch this presentation to the end. In this revealing, crucial video, you'll learn about this simple 15-second immune activation trick. It neutralizes the latent pathogen behind your symptoms, freeing you from outbreaks and restoring your natural health. This isn't about medications, extreme diets, or any of the so-called solutions you've heard before. I'll explain exactly how to do it at home, starting today, with all the scientific proof from top universities to support it. All of this is waiting for you in this discovery presentation. The time has come to free yourself from the burden of outbreaks once and for all. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Dr. Thomas Gray, and for over 20 years I've dedicated my career as a dermatologist specializing in herpes. I've treated countless patients, helping them manage the physical and emotional challenges that come with this virus. But nothing could have prepared me for the day I discovered that my own daughter, Sarah, was facing this very battle. Sarah has always been my pride and joy. She's 30, a devoted wife and mother of 2 wonderful kids. Beyond her family life, she's also a successful influencer, a face influencer, known for her flawless skin, beauty advice, and her positive, wholesome image. Sarah has never stepped out of line. She's deeply committed to her family, her values, and her public role. So you can imagine my shock the day I saw her struggling with this virus. I'll never forget that day. I'd just come home from the clinic, worn out from a long shift, and was ready to unwind. Sarah was there, moving quietly around the kitchen, her back turned to me. As I stepped closer, I noticed something unusual. Just above her lip, a sore, red and inflamed. A telltale sign, unmistakable to me after decades as a specialist in treating herpes. My heart sank, but I stayed silent, watching as she fumbled with one of my prescription bottles from the counter, hoping I wouldn't see. "Sarah?" I called out, my voice sharper than I intended. She froze, the bottle slipping in her hands, and turned to look at me. In that instant, I could see the anxiety, the shame in her eyes. She wasn't just my daughter. She was a mother, an influencer with a pristine public image, someone who embodied poise and grace. And yet here she was, desperately clutching that bottle, the visible mark of her condition right there on her face. My own daughter, to have herpes. The words escaped me before I could stop them. Her face fell, her shoulders slumped, and she glanced down, not saying a word. It's complicated, Dad, she finally whispered, barely able to meet my gaze. Complicated? I could feel the anger building up. She was a mother, had 2 kids, a husband who adored her. You have a family, Sarah. How did this happen? She tried to explain, but I couldn't hear it. The shame, the disbelief, the sense of failure as her father and a specialist in this very condition, it all blurred together into anger. I can't believe this. I never imagined you'd bring this kind of shame on our family. I lashed out, knowing, even as I spoke, that I was hurting her deeply. Shame? Dad, it's not. Do you know what people will say? What they'll think? Our family's reputation, your husband, your kids, my colleagues. I could see the pain in her eyes, but I kept going, driven by my own misplaced pride. "Dad, please," she pleaded, her voice breaking. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't do anything to deserve this." "Then why?" I demanded. "Why do you have this, Sarah? Herpes doesn't just appear out of nowhere." Her face flushed, and she looked away, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "I don't know. I just don't know." She turned, clutching the bottle to her chest, and walked to her room. I stood there, rooted to the spot, anger slowly giving way to a deep, gnawing regret. My words echoed in my mind, and I felt a creeping sense of guilt settle over me. I had let my pride, my anger, cloud my love for her. What had I done? Then the silence fell, too quiet, too heavy. Something wasn't right. Driven by a sudden panic, I walked to her room and opened the door. My heart dropped. Sarah was sitting on her bed, clutching a handful of the antiviral pills, her tear-streaked face filled with despair. She was trying to escape this virus, or maybe worse. In that moment, none of my previous thoughts mattered. I rushed to her, grabbing the pills from her hand, pulling her close as she broke down in my arms. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I love you. I'm here for you," I whispered, holding her tightly. "You don't have to go through this alone." I drove around for hours that night, my mind spinning out of control. Every word I'd said to Sarah echoed back at me, each one heavier than the last. What kind of father was I? I was the one person she should have been able to turn to, and instead I'd left her feeling abandoned and shamed. The image of her sitting on that bed, clutching those pills, was seared into my mind. I couldn't shake the thought. What if I hadn't gone in when I did? What if I'd lost her for good? I couldn't go back home, not yet. I was plagued by a question I couldn't answer. What if I couldn't fix this? Sarah didn't deserve this. She hadn't asked for this virus, this stigma. She had a family, a career, a whole life she'd built for herself. And yet here she was, caught in the grip of something she couldn't control, and I, her own father, couldn't do anything about it. As I drove, I realized that simply managing the symptoms wasn't enough. I'd seen so many patients go through the endless cycle of prescriptions, the highs and lows of temporary relief followed by relapse, the shame and frustration they carried. Now I understood just how heavy it was. The night wore on, and I found myself driving to a secluded spot by the lake, a place Sarah and I used to go to when she was little, where we'd skip rocks and share secrets. Sitting there in the quiet, staring out over the dark water, I felt the weight of my failure hit me all at once. I broke down and started crying, pleading for guidance, for a way out of this mess, a way to help my daughter regain her life. And maybe it was God, maybe it was the stillness of the lake. But suddenly I knew what I had to do. I couldn't just sit back and let Sarah be another victim of this virus, trapped in a cycle of outbreaks, shame and stigma. I had to dig deeper, find the true cause, the real root of this virus, and a way to help her that went beyond temporary fixes. This was my moment of choice. I could let my guilt consume me, or I could use it to drive me forward. I made a decision then and there. I'd use every resource, every ounce of knowledge I had to search for a solution that would free her from this nightmare for good. Not just to fix things between us, but to give her back the life she deserved. And so I immersed myself in the research, determined to find what conventional treatments had missed, something that would target the virus itself, something that would finally give Sarah and anyone else like her the chance to live without fear. As a doctor specializing in herpes, I'd spent years immersed in the conventional treatment methods, seeing patients go through the same tired options. Antiviral drugs that masked symptoms but never cured, endless prescriptions, and all the while, Big Pharma reaped the profits. The industry isn't built for cures, it's built for profit. I'd seen firsthand how they'd rather keep people on a lifetime of costly drugs than offer real solutions. And behind this machine, a web of shameless lies designed to make patients believe that these drugs were the best they could ever hope for. As you can imagine, what I found was a horror show of solutions that were invasive, ineffective, or downright absurd. The pharmaceutical industry made it sound like every new approach was a breakthrough, but it was always the same. Recycled ideas that never got to the root of the virus. I was at a loss. Every night, After hours of combing through studies and articles, I ended up with nothing but frustration. But then, in my search, a memory surfaced of an old colleague of mine, Dr. Malcolm Everett. We'd worked together years ago in medical research, and one day, Malcolm came to me, claiming he'd discovered a secret to tackling herpes at its core. I still remember how his eyes lit up as he spoke, how he seemed absolutely certain that he'd found a way to finally eradicate the virus. But back then, I'd dismissed him. His ideas sounded insane. Talk of hidden mechanisms and ways to target the virus that seemed more science fiction than reality. He was intense, almost too passionate, and I thought he'd simply gone off the deep end. Then just like that, he was gone. He vanished from the clinic without a word, and I never saw him again. At the time, I figured he'd moved on to another job or another obsession. But now, with everything that had happened, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe Malcolm had really been onto something. So I began trying to track him down, hoping I could reach him, hoping he might have the answers I was looking for. I scoured the internet, searching through medical forums, databases, anywhere I might find a trace of him. I went to the medical library, dug through all the journals I could find, hoping to see his name somewhere. But it was as if he'd been erased. Each day I grew more frustrated, more exhausted. It felt like a marathon I couldn't finish. But then, buried in a sea of search results, I saw a brief mention of him. A single article he'd written. The title caught my eye immediately. The medical approach to herpes is all wrong. I clicked the link, only to be redirected to a dead page. No article, no explanation. Frustrated, I contacted the site's support, hoping for answers. But they claimed it had been removed, and they offered no further details. I couldn't let it go. I needed to know what he'd meant, what he'd discovered. After hours more of digging, I found a hint of his contact information on an old forgotten corner of a pharmaceutical company's website. As a last-ditch effort, I found his email address and sent a message, not expecting much. Days went by without a response, and I was almost ready to give up. Then, one night, my inbox chimed. A new message had come through. It was him. After exchanging a few cautious emails, I discovered he hadn't just disappeared. He'd gone underground. He didn't trust the industry anymore, he told me. He lived a few hours away, and wary as he was, he agreed to meet with me in person. So I made the 3-hour drive the very next day. Arriving at the address, I was surprised to find myself in a modest neighborhood. It wasn't a clinic or a research facility, just a small, unassuming house. I knocked, and there he was. Dr. Malcolm Everett opened the door, gave me a nod, and invited me inside. We sat down at his kitchen table, and I didn't waste any time. I told him everything, my daughter, her despair, and the guilt I was carrying. As a doctor who specialized in herpes, I felt humiliated that I couldn't help her, that I had missed something critical. I confessed that I'd thought he was out of his mind when he mentioned his discovery all those years ago. But now, I was desperate enough to listen. Dr. Everett listened quietly, his expression compassionate yet serious. Finally, he looked me in the eyes and said, "So, you finally came looking for the truth?" Then he began to explain. It turns out Dr. Everett wasn't a traditional doctor at all. He was a biochemist, with a history of working for major pharmaceutical companies. He'd stumbled upon something remarkable in his research, something they didn't want him to pursue. He told me about a hidden mechanism, one that made the herpes virus nearly impossible to fix through conventional treatments. According to Dr. Everett, the herpes virus doesn't just lie dormant. Instead, it's held in check by the brain, which traps it, keeping it from spreading. The brain is incredibly smart in this way, using the blood-brain barrier to keep the virus from replicating and wreaking havoc on the body. But there's a catch. A latent pathogen that quietly sits in the background, capable of breaking down this barrier. And once that happens, the brain has no choice but to release the virus into the body. This pathogen, Dr. Everett explained, can remain inactive for years, only to be triggered by certain chemicals or substances that enter the body. It's a silent saboteur, lurking until the conditions are just right. and then it strikes, weakening the blood-brain barrier and allowing the virus to escape its prison. Dr. Everett leaned forward, his voice low and serious. This pathogen isn't just a gatekeeper for the virus. Once it breaks through the blood-brain barrier, it can also trigger the virus to activate within the brain itself. And that's where things get dangerous, beyond just the usual symptoms. When the virus starts affecting brain tissue, it's been linked to conditions like dementia and memory loss. The brain, overwhelmed by the virus and the immune response, can suffer long-term damage, especially in areas responsible for memory and cognitive functions. He paused, letting the gravity of his words sink in. This is what they don't want people to know. The virus isn't just a skin condition. It can become something much more serious, with effects on the brain that can be devastating. And they'd rather keep it that way, hiding the real impact, so they can keep selling treatments instead of a cure. He opened a thick folder and pointed to studies and notes detailing his findings. Animal studies, cellular models, even human case studies. They all pointed to the same conclusion. The root problem wasn't just the virus, but this latent pathogen that acted as a gateway, allowing the virus to spread uncontrollably. And pharmaceutical companies knew it. They weren't interested in a cure that would neutralize the pathogen and trap the virus permanently. They only wanted treatments that would keep patients coming back. It was all about the bottom line. Dr. Everett had tried to find natural compounds that could neutralize the pathogen, compounds that wouldn't just mask the symptoms, but block the very mechanism that allowed the virus to spread. He tested over 300 compounds, systematically eliminating anything that didn't have strong peer-reviewed evidence. Eventually, he narrowed it down to just a handful of natural agents that could fortify the blood-brain barrier and target the pathogen itself. But that's when his troubles began. The pharmaceutical company he was working for caught wind of his research, and they quickly cut his funding. They wanted nothing to do with a cure that would end their billion-dollar market. Within weeks, Dr. Everett's research was suppressed. His access to resources was cut off, and he was blacklisted from working at any university or research institution. Eventually, he was forced to take a low-paying job in a local industrial chemical plant just to make ends meet. The whole experience sent him into a deep depression. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of determination and sadness, and said, "I lost everything, Dr. Gray, because I believed that people deserved a cure. But I'm still here, and so is my research. And if you're willing, I think we can finally put it to good use." I sat there, stunned. Everything I thought I knew about herpes and the medical industry was unraveling before me. Dr. Everett had shown me the truth behind the virus, and in that moment, I knew this was the breakthrough my daughter needed. Dr. Everett nodded, opening a small drawer in his desk and taking out a small bottle of capsules. He placed it on the table and slid it toward me. "It's all here," he said. "This formula contains specific natural compounds that reinforce the blood-brain barrier and neutralize the latent pathogen that keeps the virus active. Have her take 2 capsules each morning with water. Make it part of her daily routine. When she's finished with the bottle, come back and see me." I took the bottle, a sense of hope stirring within me. A natural formula that could prevent the virus from triggering another outbreak and even suppress it in the brain. It seemed almost too good to be true. But Dr. Everett's findings were thorough, and if there was even a chance of helping Sarah reclaim her life, I had to try it. When I got home, I couldn't wait to do more research. Dr. Everett had mentioned that certain compounds in the formula blocked the virus from escaping the brain, and that night I found study after study from prestigious universities around the world. Research from one university confirmed that breaches in the blood-brain barrier were linked to the spread of dormant viruses, and scientists at another university identified the specific role of these latent pathogens in viral flare-ups. That night, I went straight to my daughter and explained everything to her. She was hesitant, but I could see the desperation in her eyes. The outbreaks, the shame, the isolation, She was willing to try anything to escape it. So the next morning, she took her first dose, and each day she continued the routine, taking the capsules with her breakfast. I watched and waited, hoping for any sign that Dr. Everett's work was the answer we'd been searching for. Days passed and gradually subtle changes began to appear. The tension in her shoulders, the heaviness in her eyes, seemed to lighten. By the end of the week, she confided in me, cautiously hopeful. "Dad, it's been days, and nothing. No outbreaks, no symptoms." I could see the relief in her face, a flicker of the confidence she'd once had. After 2 weeks, her skin was clear, her energy returning. The dark cloud that had weighed her down for so long was beginning to lift. Sarah, who had been hiding from the world, started to emerge again. She began smiling, connecting with her family, and even sharing her joy with her followers. When we went in for a follow-up, her doctor was stunned. He checked her thoroughly, looking for any sign of the virus's usual activity. After running multiple tests, he shook his head in disbelief. "I've never seen anything like this," he said. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." In that moment, I knew Dr. Everett's formula had worked. The transformation in Sarah was undeniable. She was vibrant, happier than I'd seen her in years. Grateful beyond words, I knew I had to thank him. So once more, I made the drive to Dr. Everett's modest home. When he opened the door, I couldn't contain my excitement. "It worked, Dr. Everett. Sarah's outbreaks have stopped, and she's like her old self again." Dr. Everett gave a gentle smile. "I thought it might work for her," he said. "This formula's blend of natural compounds strengthens her immune response and fortifies the blood-brain barrier, keeping the virus in check. No more flare-ups, no more shame, just freedom." I looked at him, feeling a newfound determination. "People need to know about this, Dr. Everett. No one should have to suffer like this when a solution exists." At first he was hesitant, his experience with the industry weighing heavily on him. But eventually, whether it was my gratitude or his sense of duty, he agreed. We immediately started getting the word out, sharing my daughter's story along with others from Dr. Everett's initial trials. Like Claire Williams, she had suffered from severe outbreaks for years, hiding from her friends and family, and felt like a prisoner in her own skin. After just 2 months of taking this natural solution daily, her symptoms vanished, and she was finally able to live freely without fear of another flare-up. Or David Turner, who had struggled with shame and isolation due to his symptoms. In just 14 days, his outbreak stopped, and nearly 2 years later, he's still living a life free from the virus's grip. Dr. Everett had dozens of case studies showing similar incredible results. But before we even considered making this formula available, he laid out some ground rules for the treatment. First, it had to be effective for everyone dealing with herpes, whether they'd been struggling for years or were just starting to experience symptoms. Second, it needed to deliver clear, noticeable results within 90 days. No one should have to endure symptoms endlessly while waiting for relief. And third, it had to be thoroughly supported by rigorous, independent studies to ensure it was more than just another temporary fix. We followed these key principles to prove to even the most skeptical experts that this treatment really works and is fully backed by science. Now, before I share these potent compounds, it's crucial to understand the meticulous care Dr. Everett invested in perfecting this solution. We knew that once Big Pharma became aware of how well it worked, they would use every trick in the book to stop it from reaching people. And here's why. For this solution to be effective, it requires only the purest forms of each compound in precise proportions. Deviating even slightly would render the treatment ineffective. For instance, a recent analysis found that nearly 75% of over-the-counter health products didn't contain the key ingredients advertised on their labels, often substituting cheaper, ineffective fillers. This means that people who are seeking real relief may actually be ingesting substances that have little to no impact on their condition. And this problem doesn't stop at herbal supplements. It's rampant in generic antiviral medications too. In some cases, these generics have been found to contain trace amounts of toxic solvents and industrial chemicals, substances never meant for human consumption. Worse yet, some counterfeit drugs have even been discovered to contain contaminants like floor wax, powdered drywall, and high doses of heavy metals, which can lead to severe nausea, organ damage, or worse. Hard to believe, isn't it? That's why we set out to establish an entirely new benchmark for trust and effectiveness in our herpes solution. Let me share with you what's inside this breakthrough formula and how each ingredient works to target the root cause of herpes, support brain and skin cell repair, and prevent future flare-ups. At the core of Dr. Everett's solution is a proprietary blend meticulously crafted to tackle the latent pathogen, repair brain cells, and restore skin health. The formula begins with PABA, para-aminobenzoic acid, a vital compound known for enhancing cellular defenses and skin health. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry highlights PABA's role in reducing skin damage and promoting cellular resilience, which is essential for building a strong defense against flare-ups. L-tyrosine, HCl, is another powerful ingredient that supports neurotransmitter production, a process crucial for maintaining brain health and stability. By boosting neurotransmitters such as dopamine, L-tyrosine helps maintain the brain's defenses against the latent pathogen that activates herpes. Research from Neurochemistry International shows that tyrosine enhances the brain's stress resilience, aiding in immune defense at the neurological level. Horsetail extract, Equisetum arvense, rich in silica, is essential for connective tissue and skin repair. Silica aids in maintaining the structural integrity of skin cells, reinforcing the skin's barrier against infections and helping to prevent flare-ups. According to a study in phytotherapy research, silica in horsetail extract significantly improves skin resilience and tissue regeneration. The addition of Phote, Polygonum multiflorum, is particularly valuable. Known for its cellular rejuvenation properties, Phote promotes brain cell repair and supports skin regeneration, making it harder for the virus to break through these strengthened defenses. A Journal of Ethnopharmacology study supports Phote's potential in promoting longevity and cellular health. Bamboo extract, rich in silica, supports the structural integrity of both skin and brain cells. Silica is critical for cellular elasticity and strength, reinforcing both the skin's outer barrier and the brain's resilience against viral breaches. Studies in biological trace element research have shown that bamboo extract significantly enhances skin strength and supports connective tissue health, further protecting against the latent pathogen. Stinging nettle and peony root provide powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Inflammation often triggers herpes outbreaks, so reducing it is key to managing symptoms. Research in phytotherapy. Research highlights that stinging nettle reduces inflammatory markers, while peony root has been shown in studies from Frontiers in Pharmacology to improve immune response and reduce flare-ups. A powerhouse in this formula, spirulina is a nutrient-dense algae with powerful antioxidant effects. It helps repair cellular damage in the brain and skin, supporting immune health and reducing oxidative stress, which is crucial in managing the latent pathogen. A study in Advances in Nutrition showed that spirulina enhances immune responses and can significantly reduce viral symptoms. Saw palmetto provides immune-boosting and anti-inflammatory benefits, which help support skin health and reduce flare-ups. A study in phytomedicine reported that saw palmetto not only reduces inflammation, but also enhances the body's resistance to pathogens. Plant sterols from soybeans, essential in this formula, strengthen cellular membranes and immune health, making it difficult for the latent pathogen to activate. Research in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry supports plant sterols' role in immune modulation and cellular stability, adding another layer of protection. Alfalfa, and barley grass complete this blend, supporting the body's detoxification and balancing pH levels, which is critical for a robust immune response. Alfalfa has been shown to reduce oxidative stress, and barley grass provides key antioxidants, as documented in the Journal of Functional Foods. The formula's vitamins and minerals also work synergistically to strengthen the body's defenses. Vitamin A, beta-carotene, supports immune response and skin health, while vitamin C and vitamin E act as powerful antioxidants, reducing free radicals that could otherwise compromise cell health. Vitamin D is essential for immune modulation, helping regulate the body's response to the virus. Biotin and folate aid in cellular regeneration, essential for skin recovery, and zinc offers direct antiviral support, boosting the immune system's effectiveness against the virus. Each of these ingredients has been carefully tested for purity, potency, and synergy. This formula provides more than just symptom relief. It addresses the underlying causes by eliminating the latent pathogen, repairing cells, and providing a lasting solution. Finding reliable sources for each ingredient was far more challenging than we initially anticipated. It took us several months of searching and testing to identify suppliers who could meet Dr. Everett's uncompromising standards for purity and potency. But once we did, it was worth every effort. Finally, we held in our hands a proven formula, one that could bring real relief and change lives, and we were ready to share it with the world. Through our outreach efforts, we found 265 volunteers, men and women between 28 and 73, from different walks of life, and with varying levels of struggle with herpes. Some had occasional symptoms, others had been dealing with outbreaks for years, and many had nearly lost hope after battling with the condition long-term. To make sure our solution worked universally, each participant agreed to try the treatment for a full 3 months. We delivered the product discreetly to their homes and provided them with a private form to document weekly progress. Initially, I anticipated it would take a few weeks to start seeing results, but to my surprise, reports started pouring in within just days. Participants called to share the incredible improvements they were experiencing. Skin clearing up, symptoms vanishing, and energy levels rising. The speed of the results was beyond anything we'd expected. I urged them to keep tracking their progress, and when we reviewed the reports, the outcomes were astounding. Out of 265 participants, 262 reported a complete transformation, with no outbreaks and a profound improvement in overall health. For them, herpes had become a thing of the past, with revitalized confidence, clearer skin, and an incredible boost in energy. Each participant felt healthier, with benefits that extended to mood, sleep quality, and even an improved sense of well-being. And for the 3 participants who hadn't fully achieved their goals, they still experienced significant improvements, symptoms reduced by about 70%, giving them a dramatically improved quality of life and renewed hope for the future. This trial was a resounding success, and we knew we couldn't wait any longer to share this solution with people everywhere who had been suffering in silence. This was the beginning of a breakthrough, the first formula that addresses herpes at its root, restoring skin health, vitality, and confidence in ways that felt unimaginable. Since then, this solution has transformed the lives of over 75,000 people, giving them control over their health and confidence they thought they'd lost. It's an incredibly effective solution that's available right now, allowing you to start seeing life-changing results for yourself. Within days of starting, people from all over the world began sharing their stories of how simplex HV9 transformed their lives. Take Sarah R. from Seattle, who had been struggling with flare-ups and stigma for over a decade. "I'd tried every cream, pill, and supplement available," she said. "Nothing worked until I found simplex HV9. At first, I was skeptical that something so straightforward could make a difference. But within weeks, my skin was clearer, and the key, outbreaks had stopped, For the first time in years, I feel free. And then there's David L. from Austin, who described the toll herpes had taken on his life. It was affecting everything: my confidence, my social life, even my job. I tried it all, from prescription medications to lifestyle changes, but nothing gave lasting relief. Simplex HV9 changed everything. It gave me back control, and I finally feel like myself again. But getting Simplex HV9 into the hands of those who need it most is no easy task. Sourcing high-quality, pure ingredients is challenging, and many so-called natural products on the market are either ineffective or contaminated with harmful additives. Unlike these, Simplex HV9's ingredients meet the strictest standards of purity and potency, which makes it one of a kind. Many who've experienced life-changing results with Simplex HV9 continue ordering for themselves, their friends and their families to ensure they have a lasting supply of this breakthrough solution. Simplex HV9 is carefully crafted in small batches, with each batch taking up to several months to perfect. This meticulous process ensures that every single capsule meets the highest standards of potency and purity, so you can trust that it's 100% effective. And it's not surprising that big pharmaceutical companies have taken notice. Simplex HV9 offers a genuine, lasting solution that challenges their profit-driven treatment model. But now that you've learned about this breakthrough by watching this presentation, you're just moments away from securing your own supply of Simplex HV9. Taking Simplex HV9 is incredibly simple. Just take 2 capsules each morning with a glass of water, and that's it. You're set for the entire day. Many users report seeing reductions in outbreaks and overall improvement within the first 3 weeks, with substantial health benefits emerging in about a month. But it's essential to continue with the treatment to address the core issues, helping to keep flare-ups at bay and maintain optimal wellness. Depending on your individual condition, it may take up to 75 days to fully restore balance, especially if you've been dealing with symptoms for years. For most people, 3 bottles of Simplex HV9 is an ideal starting point. Of course, everyone's situation is unique, with factors such as age, medical history, lifestyle, and overall health influencing how quickly you'll see results. After witnessing the incredible results from more than 70,000 people around the world struggling with severe herpes symptoms, we recommend a course of 6 bottles over a period of about 180 days. This time frame ensures the body has enough support to address the virus's underlying triggers, fortify the immune system, and help prevent flare-ups. Many customers continue taking Simplex HV9 even beyond this period to maintain their newfound confidence and freedom from symptoms. Given the effectiveness of Simplex HV9, you might expect it to be expensive. Each ingredient is natural, some of them rare and sourced with the utmost care. This unique formula is designed to target the core cause of flare-ups, the latent pathogen that weakens the body's defenses. Alternatives can include visits to doctors who may prescribe temporary solutions that fail to address the virus at its root, often paired with harsh side effects and mounting costs. Considering all this, a price of $350 per bottle might seem reasonable. However, we're not here to turn a profit. We're here to make a real difference. Our mission from the start has been to help you and others reclaim their lives, free from the limitations of this condition. I only wish that Simplex HV9 had existed before I saw my own loved ones suffer. But we can't change the past. What we can do is ensure that Simplex HV9 remains accessible for everyone who needs it. This became especially clear after receiving countless messages from people struggling to afford standard treatments. That's why charging anything close to $350 is out of the question. Because you've invested your time to learn about this life-changing solution, my team and I are pleased to offer Simplex HV9 at an accessible rate of just $69 per bottle for those taking the next step today. But I want to make this decision as easy as possible, because I understand the anxiety and frustration that comes with managing recurring symptoms, along with the fear of losing not just physical well-being, but peace of mind and confidence as well. That's why we're offering a special discount package. 6 bottles of Simplex HV9 for just $49 per bottle, available today only while supplies last. Once our stock is gone, the order buttons will deactivate until we can produce another batch, which typically takes around 5 to 6 months. I encourage you to choose the 6-bottle package or whichever option best suits your needs by clicking below and securing your order now. Consider this the smallest yet most impactful investment you can make in your health and peace of mind. Yes, 1 bottle of Simplex HV9 may help reduce outbreaks and restore some confidence. A 3-bottle package could mean long-term relief from symptoms, letting you focus on enjoying life fully. But 6 bottles of Simplex HV9 provide lasting support, ensuring you're covered in the months ahead, keeping your immune system strong and your confidence high. Just click the order button below, choose the best package for you, and you'll be directed to our secure checkout page. After entering your details and completing your order, Simplex HV9 will be delivered straight to your door within days. This is your chance to take control of your health. Secure your package today while supplies last. You truly have nothing to lose with our 60-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee. Try Simplex HV9 and see for yourself how it begins to support your body's defenses, helping reduce symptoms and boost your confidence. This formula has already brought relief and renewed energy to tens of thousands of users. If for any reason it doesn't meet your expectations, just reach out. I'll refund every penny, no questions asked. This is a completely risk-free decision. Simplex HV9 is available today for just $69 per bottle, with even lower prices when you choose our bundle packages. Our goal is to make this life-changing solution accessible to as many people as possible, so you can experience its benefits quickly, with orders delivered directly to your door within days. Right now you have 2 options. The first, you can choose to close this page and continue managing symptoms as they come, living with the frustration and uncertainty of flare-ups. Or you can choose to give Simplex HV9 a try, risk-free, and discover the freedom and confidence that come with effective, lasting relief. Simply click below to choose your package and proceed to our secure checkout. It's been an honor to share this journey and breakthrough with you. I believe you're ready to experience the difference for yourself. Click below to get started on your path to renewed health and peace of mind. Still here? Great. Let's tackle any remaining questions you may have. What exactly triggers herpes flare-ups, and how does Simplex HV9 address them? Herpes flare-ups are often triggered by a combination of stressors, including physical stress, immune imbalances, and exposure to certain substances. Simplex HV9 is formulated to target these underlying causes by strengthening the immune system, supporting skin health, and helping the body prevent viral reactivation. Its unique blend of ingredients helps protect against triggers that can lead to outbreaks, keeping you on the path to long-term relief. How is Simplex HV9 manufactured? Simplex HV9 is proudly crafted in the United States in a facility that strictly follows the highest standards of good manufacturing practices. Each batch is produced in an FDA-registered facility with stringent quality control measures. To ensure the potency and purity of every capsule, our formula is independently tested, and we avoid fillers, preservatives, and artificial additives. The result is a pure, reliable solution that prioritizes your health. How long will Simplex HV9 be available? Our mission is to make Simplex HV9 available to as many people as possible. However, due to high demand and the time it takes to source and process each batch, supplies can be limited. We encourage you to secure your order today to avoid delays, as restocking can take several months. How does the guarantee work? When you purchase Simplex HV9 today, you're covered by a 60-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee. If, for any reason, you feel the product isn't right for you, simply contact our support team within 2 months, and we'll provide a full refund, no questions asked. Our team is here to ensure you're satisfied with every aspect of your experience. I'm ready to order Simplex HV9. What should I do next? Ordering Simplex HV9 is easy. Just click the order button below, choose the package that's best for you, enter your details, and complete the checkout process. Your supply of Simplex HV9 will be shipped directly to your door, usually within days. Plus, your purchase is fully protected by our 60-day money-back guarantee, so you can try Simplex HV9 risk-free. Can Simplex HV9 be taken with other medications? ACE. While Simplex HV9 is designed with natural ingredients, it's always best to consult your healthcare provider if you're currently on other medications or have any specific health conditions. They can provide guidance to ensure that Simplex HV9 aligns with your current health needs. What makes Simplex HV9 different from other products? Simplex HV9 targets the root causes of herpes flare-ups by focusing on immune support, skin health, and reducing triggers associated with the virus. Unlike many treatments that only address symptoms, Simplex HV9's unique formula is designed to strengthen the body's defenses and help prevent flare-ups from occurring in the first place. How long does it take to start seeing results with Simplex HV9? Many users report improvements within a few weeks, with more substantial results typically observed over the course of 90 days. The timeline can vary depending on individual health factors, but consistent use of Simplex HV9 can offer progressive, lasting benefits.